Hey guys, well it's about 25 after 6 on Friday evening. I just got home. I had a long day today. I had to go to an eye doctor appointment this morning, and then I came home from that and had to let my eyes finish undilating, and then went to put something in the garage at the house up there and discovered a snake in there and had to get rid of it. It wasn't poisonous. It was one of those like I had in here last year, one of those rat snakes, whatever they call them. But he was resistant to leaving, so finally got him out, and then he went up in the car out there, the dart, so I got that to deal with. Then I had to go back to work. Now I'm just home, but that's good, I'm home. I wanted to continue showing you about this wiring in this truck here, and hopefully I can do a little bit better job of it now I got a little bit of daylight left. There's the spaghetti that I pulled out, that I cut out over there, that's just laying there, and that came from the harness and what I didn't need out of this. Now I'm going to try to be very careful about explaining this, what you do here. What you're going to find, and this will apply to either like a Fifth Avenue or one of these trucks or a van or anything like that, like I told you, that lean burn right there, that computer, that is self-contained out under the hood. There shouldn't be anything goes inside the cab of the truck or the car or the van, whatever you're working on. You shouldn't have to mess with any of that. There's wires that go there. There they are right there, but don't mess with those because it has nothing to do with anything inside of it. Not whatsoever. Doesn't matter if it's an Aspen or a Volare or a Grand Fury or anything. There should be nothing in the vehicle that you have to fool with. It's all out here. Because what you need to envision is these plugs here, which go up into the computer, they essentially make a loop. They come from the computer and the carburetor, and then they come around and, you know, they go to different things. They got a temperature sensor over here, one will go to temperature sensor, and there was up here at the firewall, there was a big long, like a test lead of a thing, had a plug on the end of it. If I see it, I'll show it to you. I think it was, let's see, this right here. This was it. It was up there, kind of strapped up to the firewall. Just, I don't know what it was, diagnostic or something. But so, of course, like I told you last night, there's a ground here, which I'm going to use because it's very convenient. It's a good grounding point. So I left that. I'm going to leave that there. The rest of it is going to be kept for spare wire. So here's how you need to approach cutting these wires out and not make a mistake about it. Here's what you need to know. On this one, it had two harnesses that connected to the distributor. They're a little black plastic with two leads, one male lead sticking, well, there it is right there. You had one that looks like that one, and one that looks like a slightly different version coming out of the old lean burn distributor, which you will not reuse. You just disconnect those go away. What you want to end up with is you'll have two wires that come out of the distributor, the field terminals. There's small terminals back here on the back of the distributor. What am I saying? The alternator. Yeah, this is an alternator, not a distributor. You want to keep those just run along here in this part of the harness, and they go up to this connector. You leave them alone. Do not cut them under any circumstance. Also, you have the B plus that comes out of the back of the alternator right here. See, I called it the right thing that time. It just runs right up the harness. You see it right there, up to that connector. Do not touch it. Do not cut it. Don't do anything with it. Don't even look at it. No, you can look at it. And then over here, I told you kind of wrong on this. I told you a little bit wrong. I said one of these is for the computer and one of these is for the gauge, these temperature sending units, which is what they are. Well, I had them backwards. I said I thought that was a computer and that was the gauge, and it's not. That's the gauge, and that's the... Start over again. That one has no wire on it now. That's the computer temperature sender wire. It's gone. It's going to be gone. You take that off. This is the one to the gauge. You see it's got a different kind of a connector, a little small connector right there. That's one way to help you identify that, which one's which. See, they got, that won't fit on that one, so that's the deal there. And the way that I determined that is I followed this wire. I took all the tape off this harness, every bit of it, and I followed this wire around, which is this orange wire, and see where it goes. It goes all the way up here, and it goes into this connector right there, because that connector is going into the truck. So I know everything that's coming up that connector is coming or going from inside the truck somewhere. So that was easy to figure that one out. Same with the alternator I just told you there. So total right here, you now have 4 wires right there. 3 alternator, 1 temperature sending unit. You have no wires going to the coil that was there. No wires going there anymore. You take those out. They just loop around to that big connector. You take them out, get rid of them. You have no wires going to the distributor anymore. That distributor is going to go away, and you're going to reuse, you're going to make up a new harness for the distributor you're going to put in there. So you'll see that later on. Now, one thing I've not taken off yet has to deal with this oil pressure switch down here, and I'm not exactly sure what's up with that. I think I know, but if you look right here, this big set of red wires, you see that? That's a welded splice right there where my finger is. It's all connected together. I didn't do that. That came from the factory that way. And they do this when this is ignition on 12-volt supply right here. This ran the coil, it ran everything that was in that lean burn system that needed power on when the key came on. It came through this harness right here. And it comes from inside the truck. You can see right there. It's coming from there. So I retained that, but it's got a couple that are one of them is leading over here to the distributor, which I'm going to leave that, and then one is going down to this. If you see right here, you can kind of see where it's heading out down there. It's going to that oil center switch down there, and then making things more confusing, it had a wire coming back up from there that was, the end was burned up on it right here. So this, I'm pretty sure, since it comes right for this little small white wire, which it comes from the oil sending unit and it goes right into the end of this truck right there, that I'm pretty sure that's the ignition, that's the oil pressure warning light trip right there. So, are you thoroughly confused yet? I was for a while myself. But this is what you want to end up with. You want to keep, I'll show you how I do this later on, but you want to keep this 12-volt supply wire. Trim off the versions of it that you know you're not going to need. Do not take the one off that goes to the alternator up here. Leave that part of it intact. All I do is what you see, I've chopped off 2 of them already right there. And this one I'm probably going to use to disconnect this to the coil or the module. I've got to look at that diagram again. I haven't even thought about that yet. So, and this one here, it's really a nice, what I may do with this part of this is a nice thing to have if I ever want to use 12 volts to supply something. It did go to the coil, but I think I'm going to wrap this thing up and tape it up real good, as I am at this junction right there, and use it for something else later on down the road, because that's just a really convenient place to have 12 volts at. So do a good job of wrapping this thing up with tape. I mean, overdo it, because you don't want this thing grounding out somewhere. And you want to go through and take a roll of tape and re-wrap this harness after you're done removing the wires on it. All the way up from the alternator, just like it was. Just do a real good neat job of it. So, let's recap. Here's the wires we're going to have left after we cut out the lean burn. We're going to have a 1 temperature sending wire right there. It may be in a different place. You've got a V8, but it's going to be up towards the front. On a V8, it's usually on the intake somewhere. You're going to know which one of these is the computer temp sender, because it's got this weird plug right here, and the V8s have that same kind of plug. That's the one. That's the plug you want to remove. When in doubt, follow it, see where it goes. If it goes right back to that big plugs, one of those big plugs, you know that's the computer. Okay, you're going to have B+, the big wire to the alternator. It's going to stay. It's going to have that red wire coming to one of the field terminals. That's going to stay. It's going to have the other wire going to the field terminal. That's going to stay. You're going to have one wire coming from the oil pressure sending unit. The rest of them you can do away with. So if there's anything, you really need to watch this series all the way through before you do this, because there may be something. I'm learning this along with you guys. I've done my research, but you know, we may find some stuff out together. So watch these things all the way through before you start getting ahead of me on this. So yeah, that's the way you do this. It gets you all this wiring out of here. You can leave the harnesses. It's not a problem with that if you just want to. You can leave those, but I like to clean the engine bay up myself. So, and you know, down the road this thing will probably get an engine swap too. So yeah. Alright guys, well, this thing stretched into 10 minutes. Can't believe that, but it did. So I'm going to go change my clothes and get back out here and start doing some taping. We will talk to you later. See ya.